My name's Liz Nicholson. I'm Managing Director at Nicholsons. At Nicholsons, we're an environmental services company concentrating on forestry and landscaping in the larger part. And of course, we have our wonderful centre here at North Aston. Anybody who's been to the yurt at Nicholsons will know what we offer here. Basically a plant centre and a little bit of education around the environment. And apart from that, the largest business stream is in fact our landscaping division, where we have landscape architecture and garden design feeding through to contracting, and then when we've actually implemented the job, we then go on to maintenance. So we offer the whole suite of services. And actually that's also reflected in our forestry division, from really robust forestry advice to landowners through to the contracting enabling, getting forests planted, thinning, felling, maintenance of existing woodlands, and then also through to arboriculture advice and tree surgery. And all of this is underpinned by our other consultancy areas, which is ecology and arboriculture. If somebody has a large project, say you're going to do a new development, a new hotel or a new housing development, we do an awful lot of private work, actually, so private home, and you're thinking of going into planning, then a company like Nicholsons can look after you from the beginning of your journey right through to the end in terms of anything to do with the landscape or the natural environment. So our clients find that actually, because everything happens within one team, that it's actually a pretty seamless transition. So for example, if you had a private home and you were building it and you have protected species involved like bats, we've got an ecology team that can look after that. But as you go through planning now with the new requirements for biodiversity net gain on larger developments, our ecology team sit literally side by side with our garden design team and our landscape architects. So as a team, we can actually really deliver effective project management. There's 200 of us now in the team, and we joined together over really robust, strong shared values, which we workshopped and discussed together and we've generated together. And they are creativity. Creativity is obvious in something like garden design, but actually our creativity, our approach to creativity covers everything at Nicholsons, from curating the menu in the yurt through to how we approach a problem, creative thinking. We dare to challenge everything in our industry. The industry is changing rapidly. We've got pressures from climate and nature, and I would see Nicholsons as a national leader in developing thinking around this. So that creative thought has developed something called the Green Design Audit, which is going to be engaged across the whole industry actually. So yeah, creativity is one of our main values. Alongside that, clearly passion for the planet. That's easy in our day job, from retaining an ancient oak tree through to caring for the biodiversities, ecology and biodiversity in nature, and particularly a lot of our projects enhance nature. In fact, all of our projects, I would say, enhance nature. And we work really hard to have that as a headline when we define our project delivery. And the third value at Nicholsons is dedication. And that's really centred around our clients and how we approach client work. So we like to consider clients as friends, certainly as partners, and we're really careful to take time to ensure that the client's needs, interests, budget, everything if you like, is at the centre of all decision making. So at Nicholsons, we'll often engage very early on with the client and really stress test some of the decisions that perhaps have been previously made in a project and make sure the client's most protected in every decision we make. So yeah, I think that sums us up: creativity, dedication and passion for our planet. Well, it's really interesting. So I come from a technical background, a horticultural technical background. So I've always loved what we do generally in the horticulture side of the business. I'm fascinated in that. But actually, the design side, I think we really do create some very, very beautiful spaces, and I think we're very privileged in being able to do that. Most of our projects now are under non-disclosure agreements because of the kind of clients we work for. So we find it very difficult to communicate who we're working for because it's all very private. But actually, I can tell you that actually we work in some very, very dreamy spaces and deliver some very beautiful gardens. The other thing we're very proud to be involved in is Woodland Creation. And at Nicholsons, again, we take our creative values and passion for the planet actually to make sure that we design woodlands that are really future resilient and robust, really well considered in the landscape. And we were very excited to partner with Blenheim, which I know is another B4 member actually, a very active member. And we partnered with Blenheim on Woodland Creation, and we managed to get private finance into the sector, which at that level we did 120 hectares. And so we've opened up a whole new market stream. And our foresters at Nicholsons, I have to say, they're utterly salt of the earth, really good souls. And so the way we approached the project was really with with innovative, creative thinking around the sward under the trees to bring maximum biodiversity and nature benefits, to look at the species resilience. We've got some veneer woodlands, which is a private interest of the Duke of Marlborough's, and so on and so forth. And we're still involved in establishing those woodlands 3 years later, where we have a full-time member of staff who is dedicated to look after that project. So yeah, I think the Woodland Creation is amazing, really important for climate as well. In terms of our projects, they're very diverse actually, from small private domestic through to mostly large private domestic, to be fair. But also we're increasingly gaining more commercial work, which actually I'm finding very, very interesting. For example, we look after Bicester Village, the landscape there outside the Mall. And actually a particularly amazing project we're involved in at the moment is we're just very gently working with Raymond Blanc at Manoir, Quat'Saisons, and the owners LVMH. And just reimagining the landscape there and just slightly tweaking it and working alongside the team there. And I find it absolutely fascinating working in these very, very beautiful spaces and just carefully listening to clients and making sure that we're responding and helping deliver better outcomes for everybody. A really important part of our business is our hub, if you like, Nicholsons at the Park. I'm sitting here now in one of our huts at the yurt. I think people being able to see us and identify with us and come and visit us is a really important part to our business. Many people see the green vans on the roads around Oxfordshire and Northamptonshire, but they don't necessarily know our headquarters and where we come from. So if anybody hasn't visited the park, come to the yurt for food, or we do spring and autumn fairs, Christmas fairs. But actually, otherwise, most of what we're trying to deliver here and we'll be doing more of is actually we really want to increase on environmental engagement. We want people to be able to bring their families here and immerse themselves in nature and gain a better understanding of humans' impact on nature and what we can readily do in our gardens to help improve our environment generally. B4 is really interesting. On the face of it, you think, oh, it's another networking experience. And actually, if I look back over my career, I haven't always engaged with them very well. But I would say B4 is an entirely different experience. Because it's, again, we're a family business, I feel B4 is actually headed up by a family. I feel it's very relatable for us, but also that comes with huge personality. So people connecting, very genuinely connecting people with appropriate people from a real place of caring. And so I find it, streets ahead of any other network I've ever considered, and we find it of immense value at Nicholsons. And not in a cheesy networking way, because we're not at all interested in that. We're interested in building friendships and relationships and not wasting anybody's time. And so I feel B4 gets that spectacularly right, actually. I think over and above all that, I particularly like the geographical spread of B4. So I think in a very connected world now through the internet and email and Teams calls and Zoom call, and you can be anywhere in the world, it's quite refreshing to have a platform and a forum that's actually based around a local geography. So actually the people you're connecting with are in your sphere. You can meet them at the yurt for a brunch or a lunch and actually talk through issues, or perhaps somewhere you might support somebody else's business. And often what I particularly like about B4, those sort of meetings don't come with a hard sell. So it's not pushing for commercial benefit, but it's more likely that actually it's around actually supporting a colleague in a slightly different business area. And certainly as Nicholsons grows and develops and enters new marketplaces, we found B4 immeasurably valuable.